A stunning development that marks the first time a former president has faced federal charges. Trump is facing a charge under the Espionage Act, his attorney Jim Trusty said on CNN Thursday, as well as charges of obstruction of justice, destruction of classified records, conspiracy, and false statements. The special counsel has been investigating Trump's handling of classified documents that were brought to his Mar-a-Lago, Florida resort after he left the White House in 2021, as well as possible obstruction of the investigation and government efforts to retrieve the material. The former president wrote on Truth Social he's been informed by the Justice Department he will be indicted and summoned to appear at the federal courthouse in Miami on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Of course, we'll be covering this very extensively, and we'll be showing you the response, not just from Donald Trump himself, but from a number of different people, including even some good-hearted Democrats who recognize that this is, in fact, an irreversible slip into despotic tyranny, that even hatred of Trump should make you a little bit wary of. Meanwhile, U.S. preparing another $2 billion in arms to Ukraine. Pentagon is set to unveil another $2 billion in military aid for Ukraine, hoping to bolster the country's air defenses as Kiev launches its much-touted counteroffensive against Russian forces, Bloomberg News has reported. Just another $2 billion. $2 billion. Just wild. Just completely insane. And of course, this is all these are all tied up together, and we'll get into some other major news about presidential corruption here that links all of this. But suffice it to say, you can't let law and order get in the way of World War III. Meanwhile, Taliban successfully eradicates poppy cultivation. Taliban government of Afghanistan has carried out truly unprecedented reductions in poppy cultivation in 2023, according to a new analysis published by ALSIS, a UK-based geographic information services firm specializing in geospatial data collection, statistical analysis, and visualization. How curious, isn't it? A synthetic opioid in fentanyl is invented, and suddenly the CIA and corporate government of the United States not interested in poppy cultivation anymore, leaves Afghanistan, and I guess the righteous warriors of Allah have outlawed it. Pretty incredible. Of course, the fires in Canada still rage out of control. There are now 250 out-of-control fires in Canada, some saying it's all planned, and I have to agree with that. We'll get into some of the new conspiracy theories about this, including that Canada may have been the final destination for that 60,000 pound shipment of ammonium nitrate that went mysteriously missing recently. It's all coming together. We'll discuss that later. Finally, we have this. Republicans will absolutely be impeaching Biden thanks to bombshell FBI evidence. And this is the House Oversight Committee having seen the FBI document that shows no uncertain terms that Joe Biden used his office as vice president to help corrupt the country of Ukraine and enrich himself and his family.
What a punk.
Leading in no small part to the outbreak of war in that country, because people are evil and we have to stop them. We'll be back, folks, on the other side, show you Donald Trump's response to the indictment.
But before we go to break, please remember we're listener supported. We're not subscriber based. We're supported by you buying products at InfoWarsStore.com, and they're excellent. We're selling out of X3. It's our best seller. We have to end the sale because at current sales rates in 2 weeks, it'll be gone. Tri-iodine, incredible for your immune system, your electrochemical activity, every cell in the body. It's essential. Without iodine, you die. That's why they're targeting iodine, taking it out of the diet. You need it. They put the bad halogens in to block the iodine and the chlorine, the fluoride, the bromine. You need this product. It takes about 2 weeks to kick in on average. Take a few drops a day. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. And it's 25% off. It is your last chance. Discover the power of activated iodine. Tri-iodine, true nascent iodine takes your system just to the next level. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139.
It's Friday, June 9th, year of our Lord 2023. And
You're listening to The American Journal with your host, Harrison Smith. Watch it live right now at band.video.
I think it's time to blow this thing.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's dance.
Happening again. They're acting like Donald Trump, some sort of master criminal. Our beautiful and unbiased. You know, it's almost like they're treating the Justice Department as like honorable and like heroic for indicting the current president's primary political opponent. Right? It's like they're taking on the burden of having to do this highly unconscionable thing. They are heroically overcoming their own deep-seated reticence in doing something so flagrantly partisan. But they're willing to take those slings and arrows. They're willing to be called the SS. They're willing to be called the law enforcement agency of the Democrats, because it doesn't matter what you say, they're going to stick to the truth. Okay, and if that means indicting Donald Trump, they're just going to take that burden on. It's crazy out there. It's absolutely crazy. All of it is absolutely insane. Wall Street Journal has the story. Trump indicted in classified documents case. Donald Trump was indicted Thursday by a federal grand jury in the investigation into his handling of classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, marking the first time in history that the federal government has brought charges against a former president.
They're setting a precedent.
Not over the Iraq war, not over the Afghanistan withdrawal, not over the Clinton murder spree that's still ongoing, nothing having to do with operations with Jeffrey Epstein, no indictments for Anthony Fauci or any of the other control freaks that massively increased the damage that COVID would have done had we all just completely ignored it. No, but apparently some assistant of Donald Trump had documents they weren't supposed to have. We'll get into the actual indictment.
They have to set a precedent.
Particulars here in just a second. He was charged with 7 counts, a person familiar with the matter said, including violations of the Espionage Act, which bars the misuse of classified information, as well as obstruction and false statements. A lawyer for Trump, James Trusty, confirmed those counts on CNN. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said his lawyers had been informed of his indictment in connection to what he called the boxes hoax. Trump declared his innocence and said he'd been summoned to appear Tuesday at the federal courthouse in Miami. I don't think there's anything I can say about this that most people haven't already. I mean, there's only a few options here. But all in all, I mean, it's just a, blatantly political action by the Department of Justice. It is completely egregious. Represents a continuation of the trend, but also a major leap in that trend. If you see a graph that suddenly jumps up super high out of nowhere, it was on an upward trajectory already. The idea of tyranny and the weaponization of the DOJ and picking and choosing what crimes to actually prosecute based on the political persuasion of the people involved. We were already on that track, already on that trend. And you have this massive jump straight up with this indictment. There's a certain poetry here. It all rhymes. It's amazing. This is Donald Trump's response to the indictment. He posted this on Truth Social. We'll just let the whole thing play. Here is former president and number one enemy of the current sitting tyrannical regime, Donald Trump.
Against Biden and against the Republicans. Very sadly, we're a nation in decline, and yet they go after a popular president, a president that got more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country, by far, and did much better the second time in the election than the first. And they go after him on a boxes hoax, just like the Russia hoax and all of the others. It's been going on for 7 years, and they can't stop. because it's election interference at the highest level. There's never been
She's
anything
gonna
like
say
what's
that.
happened. I'm an innocent man. I'm an innocent person. They had the Mueller hoax, the Mueller report, and that came out. No collusion after 2.5 years. That was set up by Hillary Clinton and Democrats. But this is what they do. This is what they do so well. If they would devote their energies to honesty and integrity, it would be a lot better for our country. They could do a lot better. They could do a lot of great things. But when you look at what's happened to our country in the last 3 years, we were energy independent. We had a strong military that wasn't woke. We were doing so well. We were respected all over the world. Got the biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in history. And what do? You have a president where an election was taken, got more votes than any sitting president in history by far, never anything even close. And they come after me because now we're leading in the polls again by a lot against Biden and against the Republicans by a lot. But we're leading against Biden by a lot, a tremendous amount. And we went up to a level that they figured the way they're going to stop us is by using what's called warfare. And that's what it is. This is warfare for the law. And we can't let it happen. We can't let it happen. Our country is going to hell. And they come after Donald Trump, weaponizing the Justice Department, weaponizing the FBI. We can't let this continue to go on because it's ripping our country to shreds. We have such big problems, and this shouldn't be one of them. It's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax, just like Russia, just like the fake dossier was a hoax. You saw the Durham report. You saw the Mueller report. It was all a big hoax. You had 2 impeachments.